A very good afternoon and welcome to Val di Fiemme for the final stage of the Tour de Ski, a 10-day journey which started right on the 1st of January, New Year's Day. So this is the traditional end to the Tour de Ski in the province of Trentino at, as you can see, approaching 1,000 meters. But by the end of today, they'll have crested that and been over 1,200 meters with the famous, the infamous final climb to Alpe Cermis, where the Tour de Ski will be decided and determined, and the winner will collect a 100,000 Swiss franc bonus. So before we get into the final leg, a chance to rewind to yesterday, and even before that, a chance to look back at the history of the last 9 winners. Verpi Koivunen, the first to break the Tour de Ski records, or indeed make the Tour de Ski records, and then the reign of Kowalczyk there, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Teresa Johaug won this in 14, but Marit Bjørgen finally cracked it last year, and of course is now sitting at home with her new baby, looking, and I guess pretty fascinated as to who might take the crown today. Well, alongside myself is Mike Dixon, and Mike with his thoughts on the tour so far, and indeed the leg yesterday, the 10 kilometers must start classic.
It's been a great tour, David, and what a close rivalry between Usberg and the great Therese Johaug. Heidi Weng so many times second and third place, and it was this particular day yesterday where she came to the fore. Never gave up throughout the tour, but always in second or third, mostly third place. And well, after 7 minutes, it was Teresa, as expected, putting the turn of pace in, and she could not get rid of Usberg or Heidi Weng. And of course there was the change, the front changing order so many times. And I think in a sense you can see at the end of the race, Therese Johaug slipping her way up the hill. The grip from her skis had completely deserted her, and a look over the shoulders from Usberg, thinking she might take the win today, but Heidi Weng there on the right had a different idea. So many times on the podium, as I said, she was desperate to get her first ever victory, and it was a good victory too. All the big names there, and in 26 minutes, 29:16, she takes the victory.
And for the second day running, denying Usberg a 5-second bonus, but Teresa Johaug all spent in third place. But what a wonderful day, Mike, for Heidi Weng,
yeah,
24 years of age.
Amazing, and it's so big for me, so yeah, I can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
You were so...
So there it is. Look at that, 121 starts, but finally that elusive victory, the dream comes true. And her teammates were very much the first to congratulate her, to Johaug and to Usberg. But of course, this sets up the final leg of the Tour de Ski. And Usberg there also with a victory. Really amazed that she's still wearing the red bib, and she's going to be saying to all of her fellow racers, catch me if you can, over the final 9 kilometers of this examination. Well, there, as you can see, is the difference, 38.7 seconds. That's all that Usberg has over Teresa Johaug, who has been, as Mike will now explain, the dominant figure when it comes to this last phase of the Tour de Ski.
David, it's amazing statistics. Therese Johaug last year, she broke the field by 1 minute. The year before by 45 seconds. And she needs now to pull back the 38.7 on Usberg. I'll tell you what, it's going to be so close.
right, Ingvild.
Well, let's catch up with the leader of the Tour de Ski.
Still wearing the red bib. We got the big climb ahead. Yeah, are you still in shock of how well it's going?
Yeah, I'm still in shock, and this is so unbelievable. But for sure, it's really fun, and I still feel strong, and I'm so surprised that my shape is so good throughout the whole tour. So yeah, it's gonna be a hard last day, and as Sam said the whole way, this is my worst stage, I guess, but I will fight hard.
Yeah, we've seen great fitness from you in all the stages. You're always competitive, so we hope we can see the same on Alps Remise.
Yeah, for sure. I will not give in, and I will fight with Teresa until till I can't see the course, I guess. So this will be a hard one, but yeah, Teresa, I guess she's like 2-3 minutes better than me on the last stage. So, but it's been fun the whole way, and now I will just give it all the last stage.
All right, well, we wish you all the best.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, a very good afternoon, everybody. Mike Dixon together with myself, David Goldstrom, for the decisive final leg of the Tour de Ski, the 8th stage here in the Val di Fiemme Valley, this part of the world which has hosted the Nordic Ski World Championships on 3 occasions. But this is the 10th edition of the Tour de Ski. And if you look at the leaderboard, it is dominated at the top in the podium positions by 3 hugely talented Norwegians. Ingvild Østberg, Teresa Johaug and Heidi Weng, who've all had success in various stages of the Tour de Ski. But the basic facts are that Østberg, a little bit to her surprise, finds herself with a 38.7-second cushion ahead of Teresa Johaug, who's been the master in the women's division of climbing the hill, the last 3,250 meters, which is really cruel and punishing. And Heidi Weng, who has 2 minutes and 26 seconds to make up, and she looked particularly strong in winning yesterday. And so if there is a chink in the armor of Østberg or Johaug, Weng will be quite possibly the athlete to come on and take advantage. The best of the others, Charlotte Kalla, Sweden, in 4th place, 6 minutes to make up. And Kerttu Niskanen, the best for Finland, 6 minutes and 47. Those two are matched together. And the significance of this is because the Tour de Ski doesn't only offer 400 points to the winner, but there are big bonus points in terms of World Cup points for those that finish 2nd and 3rd. 2nd gets 320, 3rd gets 240, 4th gets 200, etc. As we get a little review as to what happened yesterday. Heidi Weng, for the first time after 121 World Cup starts, actually cracked it. Teresa Johaug here in that familiar pink headband. She's the woman who is favoured nonetheless to take the Tour de Ski, recapture the title she won in 2014. But the reality is that she may well struggle, because in the last couple of stages she's been found out. And how much energy does she have to go up this final climb? So it's a gorgeous day, it's pretty warm, and that means softer snow at the bottom of the big hill, slightly colder when we get to the top. As you can see, 5.5 degrees Celsius. And now for his thoughts on the course, here's Mike Dixon.
It's brutal, David, and after their 10 days, and of course this is the 8th race, and have a look at this. Very, very simple and easy downhill. It's following the river down the valley for the first 5.6 kilometers, 5.7 kilometers, and then we hit the climb. And that rise, in terms of altitude rise, is 407 meters climb from the low point up to that high point. And that's only over a distance of 3.25 kilometers. Huge final test at the end of the 10-day test anyway.
It is, it's hugely demanding, and it's going to be fascinating, because there is, Mike, I think, just a question mark over Teresa Johaug as you see the order in which they're going to start. There's a height difference of 425 meters, the total climbing 495, and the length of the course that they're going to race here, 9,000 meters. And tactics are going to come into this, aren't they? What is the decision? What does Ersberg do with 38.7? Does she try to extend it on the relatively flatter part of the course, or does she accept it and actually she's retain energy, knowing that Theresa Johaug is going to come at her?
Well, it's a straight, there's so many combinations. I think listening to her interview, she was almost accepting that Theresa is going to catch her. And I don't think that she's been briefed by all her coaches. I think the clever strategy, and the one we will see Ersberg taking, is to try and build a little on that 38.7 seconds. So she's got some kind of big space between her and Theresa on the climb, because Theresa destroys everyone on the climb.
There's Heidi Weng. Yeah, Theresa Johaug, she's won the last stage. That's the fastest time on the stage in the last 5 editions of the Tour de Ski. And she's won this stage in 6 of the previous 9 editions of the Tour. And Johaug's been at least 40 seconds faster than anybody else on this last stage in the last 5 editions. So if history and records count for anything, Johaug will eclipse Ersberg. So this is a pursuit. It's a catch me if you can. It's Ersberg who's going to start with her advantage of 38.7, and by hook, by crook, and whatever else she can muster, she's going to try to hold off. And if either of the front two, Ersberg or Johaug, make a mess of this, then the reality is Heidi Weng, a couple of minutes away. She's looked stronger and stronger and could yet play a part, but it does still look, as Ersberg gets away in the red bib, that it is going to be a 1-2-3 for Norway at the end of the day.
Very much so. It was last year, but of course Bjørgen was in the race last year. Now it's Ersberg, surprising not just everybody else, but surprising herself every single day. She's been amazed that she's still in this position and beginning to believe in herself just a little more. Theresa's going to be hunting down. Watch the tempo when she releases from the gun here.
Yeah, you could also see a little bit of anxiety, I think, on her face there, because she knows that this is no gimme.
No, and there's so much at stake, David, apart from the 400 points, as you say, as opposed to the 320 for second place, but 100,000 euros, as you mentioned.
Swiss francs.
Swiss francs, sorry.
Even more valuable.
Even more, to 57, almost half as much for second place. This is about pride, it's about money, it's about 10 days, 10 very hard days. And I think most of all between these two, it's about pride. Johaug wants this win.
Yeah, the first 10 will pick up bonus prize money. And just to reiterate the rules of Tour de Ski, to collect your bonus money, you have to finish the tour. That means you have to complete all 8 stages. So all of the athletes, not just the front 3 Norwegians who've been dominating our conversation, but the others that are coming behind, that's the likes of Kaller and Niskanen and Parmakoski, even down to Jess Diggins in 10th place for the United States. They have to finish today. If they don't finish today, they only keep the points that they won during the tour, but they don't get any bonus points.
Well, that's right. So vital to finish. We don't often see many withdrawals or DNFs on the final day, but without a doubt, everybody's legs are exhausted at the moment. Theresa put in a massive attack up the first climb. You can see her gasping for air at the moment. She'll be gasping even more crossing the line.
And clearly what she wants to do is to use this early stage to try and close the gap, but then in a sense recover a little bit before the beginning of the climb.
She does need that, as Heidi Weng not even away yet at 2:27 behind. And the first kilometre, David, it's within, it circles around and within the start stadium, so we'll be seeing Ersberg coming back down and into the stadium. Just annoying those who haven't started.
And this is a mental test as well as a physical test here, because pacing is really important and it's difficult. Someone like Heidi Weng there, she's getting information at regular intervals from the coaches, same as Theresa, same as Ersberg, but you have to try and put that in perspective if you're going to try to move up. And look at this. This is this first loop that then brings them down into the stadium before they really go out onto the cross-country journey.
That's right. Even up to, we'll get a split check, timing at 1.8. And Ersberg, she's looking to me As if she's very relaxed under the most pressure she's ever had in her racing career, to have TdS Johaug hunting her down.
Well, the best thing, and we'll get some splits on this, which will tell you how Erzberg's doing. Remember, she had 38.7. Let's just call it 40 seconds, because it just makes it easier to do the mathematics. Has she got 40 seconds over Johaug when we see Johaug coming into the stadium here?
I think it'll be reduced. I think Johaug will probably see about 36, 35, maybe even 34. So maybe, oh, there she is already. It's going to be more.
So there's Erzberg, got a nice rhythm there, skiing pretty well, and now you can see the little clock running after 1,800 meters, and this is Johaug on the chase now.
Oh well, Johaug has set her stall out, so obviously what her strategy is going to be. Still a way to go before the clock stops at the end of this straight, but she's certainly going to be up, David.
And it is her power to weight ratio which gives us such an advantage on the wicked climb to come. And remember, she started 37.8 seconds down, so Erzberg's done a pretty good job on the opening 1,800 meters, and oh well, that's even Steven.
Well, I said she's certainly going to be up. She's only up by, what, 1 second, and that's TdS. Look at the attack and the comparison body language there, David. TdS, I know she's got a fast tempo, but she looks very tense. On the other hand, Erzberg looks in control and conserving, relaxed energy.
And I think this is important for Erzberg because, of course, she's getting the split, she's getting the messages about Johaug, and every time she can hold that advantage, let alone maybe build on the advantage, she's sending a little message of disappointment back to Teresa. No, you aren't gaining on me.
And psychologically, that's going to hurt TdS Johaug. But we do know, we've stated it a few times, that she makes her time on the climb. Her very slender and small figure, she just eats hills. Erzberg, on the other hand, isn't that confident on out and out 3.25 kilometers continual horrendous climb up the downhill ski slope.
Well, what about this race? I mean, when Vegard Ulvang, former multi-Olympic and world champion, dreamt this up with the likes of Jörg Kapol to begin the Tour de Ski in 2007, they invented or found and made this final test the finale that nobody would ever forget, which is this wicked climb that comes with 3,250 meters of the race left to go. As you see Heidi Weng, Verpi Koitunen, the first ever Tour de Ski champion in the women's division in 2007, Charlotte Kaller in 8, Verpi regained it in 9, and then Justyna Kowalczyk of Poland dominant in 10, 11, 12, 13, Teresa Johaug for the first time in 14, Marit Bjørgen for the first time last year. And 226, wasn't it?
It was 227, so that's the kind of intensity Erzberg and Johaug, they've already taken 13 seconds out of Heidi Weng.
So Charlotte Kaller in 4th place and Kerttu Niskanen in 5th place. They're separated by barely a second, those two, and actually that'll be interesting. That might help both of them to maintain at least their positions. So we're on our way, and a long way to go as the next person out of the gate here, Parmakoski for Finland. Well, Finland, I have to say, didn't quite come up to our expectations yesterday. Parmakoski finishing in 4th place. That was a decent effort, but we were thinking that maybe Kolonen and Niskanen would do really well.
Haga just started. She's shown her strength so much through this tour. 8th at the moment. I think she might move forward 1 or 2.
Well, the big news is that at 4,000 meters, Teresa Johaug has taken 6-7 seconds out of Erzberg. He's now, or was, just 31 seconds behind. And 4 kilometers into this journey of 9,000 meters. And you can see some of those athletes with big gaps. But of course, what they're fighting for is a place in the top 10, because there are not only bonus points for the top 30, but there are bonus financial rewards for the top 10. And there, Stina Nielsen, closest to you, the leader of the under-23 world rankings.
You know, David, I think down the years, Stina, she's only 22-year-old. She's had a couple of falls during the sprint races, which have cost her hugely, losing positions, losing points, losing time. But I think doing very well, 15th position, 10 minutes behind. I think we could see her challenging in the future.
Just while we see Heidi Weng there, who had lost time at the first 1,800 meters, you can see there's Johaug, 31.6. That was the differential. And actually Heidi Weng again losing time here, losing a little bit more time, but obviously conscious of consolidating her third place. Realistically, she probably woke up this morning and thought, well, you know, my chances of getting to both Ingvild or today's pretty small, and so realistically what I have to do is run my own race. So some of the women getting ready to start this test, and as I said, Mike, it is a mental test, because all of them will know about the climb and some will be fearful.
Without a doubt, the legs, 10th day, 8th race, a lot of travelling, a lot of tension, and some extremely tough races, and still this final climb. The wave now at 12 minutes. There'll be another wave at 13 minutes. And I think that's fair enough. It gives everyone a head-to-head here. And just looking, David, the nation with which still has the most representative athletes is Russia. Still 8 athletes in the race, but they haven't done well. The best at 12 minutes behind.
Just to bring you a little bit up to date, Charlotte Kaller, she started with a deficit, Kaller, of 6:46 at the first 1,800 meter point. It was extended to 7:01. Niskanen, similarly, just over 7 minutes. So you can see the Norwegians applying pressure in that sort of duel that's going up ahead of them, and now approaching 6.2 kilometers.
Well, the second of the 2 waves, this one at 13 minutes, this takes us all the way down to the last athlete. Only 43 still remaining from 78 on the first day. And the sprinters left early. And the tour has changed over the years, David, with used to be a prologue, now this year 2 sprints. I like that, and maybe it could do with a 3rd sprint within the 8 days of racing, just to keep the sprinters attending. Or the out-and-out sprinters.
And we shouldn't forget, it's been a special tour, not just for the 3 Norwegians up front. Jess Diggins breaking her duck, winning her first ever World Cup race.
Sophie
American
Caldwell.
teamweight, indeed, Sophie Caldwell in the sprint. And those are important stages in their careers. And here you can see Teresa gulping in the oxygen, because at 6.2 kilometers they're into the climb, and they're not there yet. 5,750 meters is where it really begins, and in anticipation, Mike, this climb, well, it gets harder, doesn't it? Harder and harder.
Oh, it starts at 12% gradient, then 26, then 14, and this is the easier part at 12%.
And here you've got the running clock, which tells you the differentials here. So it was 31 seconds that the advantage of the advantage of Ersberg had shrunk to at 4 kilometers.
Now look at this. Well, there's Johaug. You can see just so close now. 16 seconds, as you said. Everybody now thinking it's a Johaug day, but she's had to work so hard, David, on the flat section, and totally on her limit coming into the base of the hill. but I still think she can take this.
Well, here you can see the difference in tempo. It's characteristic, but here you can also see this power to weight ratio. And of course, she is mentally very tough. But what we saw yesterday, if you remember, we did see Johaug emptying. We saw the shoulders rocking, the head drop. And after the previous 7 stages, how much has she actually got?
Well, it's her mind now. Everyone's functioning on low fuel, and now it's down to desire, the mind, how much you can push. And every day Usberg has surprised me, disappointed me in a little bit by her interview, saying, oh, Teresa is so much better than me. And today she was saying, oh, Teresa will normally take 2 or 3 minutes out of me. But let's hope she can find some positive in there and try and stay with Teresa when she comes level.
Little finish honour being fought out here between Parmakoski and Kilonen. And they've got Niskanen ahead, and now you can see, and this isn't even the hard part.
This is the easy part. We've got 1 kilometre entirely of this gradient, and now we're back down the course to the easier section.
Yeah, and Usberg having gone through 6.2 kilometres, and her advantage chronometrically down to 14 seconds, but the biggest advantage is the fact that there's Teresa, and she's had her in her sights pretty well the whole way, and it's now really about how Usberg reacts, because Teresa's got to continue this. She's got to go ahead, she's got to make a determined break here, and the question is, can Usberg live with her?
Look at the different body language. Teresa Johaug gasping for air. She's been on her limit. On the other hand, Usberg has been holding back a little. Has it been a strategy from Usberg to think, well, when she gets me, no matter what, will stay with her? But it doesn't look like she can for me.
Well, this might be a point, though, where Teresa, who, as you say, has been working at the max, actually consolidates, starts to get a bit of recovery in her, and it's up to Usberg now to try and turn that screw a little bit to make this painful. Now, here comes Teresa. She hasn't sat on her laurels. She's decided that she's going to go ahead and and she's actually sprinting to get away from Usberg.
Come on, Usberg, you've got to get in now. Her only chance of winning this one is to try and get in behind Teresa Johaug now. Teresa only rested up for 20 seconds behind her.
Here's Heidi Weng coming to 6,200 kilometres, and again leaking a few seconds, but it's not particularly dangerous at the moment. And you can see Therese, she's put that effort in. By the way, there are no extra bonus points on this particular stage. Those are all over. It's all about crossing the line, out semis at the top in first place. So the 37.8 seconds of advantage has been dismissed here by Teresa Johaug, who has this fantastic record and now has the big advantage over Usberg, who almost looks to me to have accepted it there in second place, and that's a little disappointing for me.
It is, and Usberg in the background has lost all of the tempo that we saw her on some of the fearsome climbs in Lenzerheide when she stayed with Teresa, but there's something completely missing from her performance today. Maybe the pressure of starting, but already she's a spent force.
And you can see this is still towards the bottom of the climb. You can see the effect of the sun on this track here. It's softer in this part.
Well, that's right. And remember, of course, what, an hour and a half ago, the open race up this climb, 200 athletes have already gone up this climb. Why would you want to do it? For experience it. I'd love to do it myself, actually. But you can see where the ski marks are there ahead of you. But Usberg, just nothing to give. This might give Heidi Weng serious amount of confidence that, well, maybe she can bridge that gap up to Usberg.
Yeah, this is good skiing by Heidi Weng there. Okay, she's losing time to now Teresa Johaug, but this is very well balanced skiing here, and you can see those shoulders over the knees, good power going down.
And look at the tempo. Compared to Usberg's tempo, there's frequency, and when you're climbing such steep hills as this, you need to keep frequency, tempo in your limb speed, or you just go nowhere. All your speed is just absorbed by the mountain.
And the other factor is, Mike, you know, whatever happened last night, it's not until you wake up this morning, and not even until you get on the track, that you really know how you feel.
So true, and we've seen that with the great Sundby on his day 6. He had nothing to give. He felt good when he woke up, but only when he started racing he found he had nothing.
And just a little footnote to the men's race from yesterday. Many of you will have seen Dario Cologna looking good at 10 kilometers in their 15-kilometer classic mass start. And then suddenly his performance went out like a light. And there you can see where they are on the climb. Just to finish the Cologna thing, but first we thought the reports were coming in that he had some cramp, but then he was taken off to hospital because they were fearful of a break, and they showed us a slow motion on a corner where he almost lost control. We're not sure whether that was the moment that caused the problem that resulted in him literally just coasting in. He won't start today, and that's because it obviously is a serious matter. Otherwise, you could be sure that Dario Cologna would go in the men's race. So if we get any more news, we'll obviously bring it to you. And there you can see Weng has actually stemmed the time loss, particularly in relation to Erzberg.
Yeah, very much so. And Heidi Weng looking up the mountain there, she's seeing the much slower tempo of Erzberg ahead of her. Still a long way ahead of her.
And you look at the red bib, and where's the pink headband of Theresa Johaug?
There it is, just going through past the big banner on the right.
And this is Niskanen ahead of Charlotte Kalla, having their own private battle here as they come up. They were glued together at the start, 6:46 and 6:47, the respective deficits. Niskanen was starting just a whisker behind Kalla, and clearly they've decided to work the hill together.
Kalla, I think you would want to favour Kalla by the end of the climb. She's got a wicked sting in her tail when it comes to a sprint finish. It's still a way to go for Therese Johaug, 3/4 of the way up the mountain. And into the 26% section, then 14%, then 24%. Gradient, that is.
And there, of course, that's a rather distorted position because it's showing Erzberg ahead. The overtake hadn't happened. And in picture now, that's Parmakoski you saw close up there.
Haga coming through. She started 7:32 behind, 7:38. But that 7:32 was on Erzberg, not on Therese Johaug, who's now leading. Oh, she's got into a rhythm. She's having a little look down the valley. There's a slightly reprieve here, David, where it sort of spins its way around because this is incredibly steep, this section. Legs gone. Look at the reach on the left arm. Normally you want to keep your hands close to your head or you're wasting energy.
And this is an athlete who I think was fearful of this hill because she can only do what she can do. It's just not her cup of tea. And, you know, you can see there's no rhythm to this. This is just a slog.
It's a slog. Therese Johaug designed for this. So 1.58 in height and 43 kilograms in weight. She weighs nothing. And she really just maintains this fighting tempo all the way. Gasping for air, though.
Well, we're moving up to some 1,200 meters at the top there, 1,280 at the finish line. And it's one of those, I think, quite horrible finishes because it's like climbing a mountain and you think you're getting to the top and then suddenly there's a sting in the tail and the sting is a final 11% gradient.
It's a shocker. Well, 11 and then 11 is the easiest bit, but it's still a fearsome climb.
And I have to say, you know, this is a sort of television picture which isn't telling the story other than the fact that there's Erzberg and look at her, she's a whole 2 terraces behind.
Yeah, Therese Johaug still keeping the tempo and the fight going. This is now on a 24%, I should say, gradient. Just past the Palua.
Yeah, there's an even steeper section still to come.
Oh, Therese's head is everywhere. She's totally and utterly used her fuel up, I would say, at this stage. Now it's on spirit.
Yeah, there is a point in this hill where it's the will to win. And you can see even on the turns there, that's a sign of the energy running out there. It's not so fluent, it's not so easy.
It's not, and that look back is also saying, maybe I can back off, because her body is saying, back off a little bit, just a little, please.
Yeah, that's difficult to do here because actually you need to maintain momentum.
You do. On a hill, as soon as you slow this tempo down, and there's Heidi Weng with an aggressive attack tempo as well.
Yeah, to be honest, she looks as if she's skiing better than the other two.
And Heidi in third place, and here's our second place. Strong legs. Well, this is Østberg we're looking at. And Johaug on this stage managed to maintain the skate 2, or the paddling there, where you're leading on one side, short stride on the other stride. And TdS Johaug maintained that all the way up this 24% climb. You can see where they came from, right down the bottom of the valley.
Yeah, that's a picture that gives you a slightly better... I have to say, Mike, the television pictures often do this. They don't really show how nasty this is.
It's a pity.
You actually need one of those traveling cameras that goes, you know, alongside the gradient to really give you an impression. And 8.1 kilometers.
Well, you know what? She's almost... she verbalized what was going to happen. She said, oh, TdS will take 2 to 3 minutes out of me on this climb. Well, she is.
Yeah, minute 26 behind.
The 4-time winner of this tour, Justyna Kowalczyk, not quite the same as she normally is, bib 21.
Yeah, the 5th most popular family name in Poland, apparently, Kowalczyk.
Oh.
So here, Teresa, you get moments, don't you? You go through a little bad patch, and then now on this section of the course, now beginning to feel just a little bit better, getting the fluency back and getting her confidence going again. And this is the willpower. This is the engine and the willpower combined.
Yeah, the desire. She wants to take this win today as well. That'll be in her mind. But she's just been told by the coach there, with 1 kilometer to go, that she's 1:16 ahead now. And at this stage, after 27 minutes, TdS Johaug must be just beginning to lift again, feeding herself with renewed confidence and energy that she's got this one practically in the bag, and looking back down just to make sure that is the case. And now she can enjoy this final kilometer.
And this is really important, because the 400 points that she will collect in the World Cup means that she's going to open up the advantage over Østberg, who actually by yesterday had got it down to 74 points. Now she's going to lose another 80 points, Østberg, to TdS Johaug. So there's Heidi Weng, and Weng now 3:04, so actually has lost time between the 7.1 and the 8.1 kilometers. So in the last kilometer, she's actually lost some 27 seconds to Johaug.
And just Heidi Weng in third place has got her deficit to Østberg to just 1:34 now, but she hasn't really got enough space to pull that time back.
So Johaug leading from Østberg and Weng, and it's 1-2-3 Norway, and this is the way it's been pretty well all the way through the tour. 21 in picture there, Justyna Kowalczyk, and what a difference. I mean, it's disappointing in a way to see her struggling when you think that she's actually won this competition. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times.
It is, and I would love to see Justyna coming back. She'll have some time out after this. Won't be doing the sprints, or maybe she will actually next weekend in Slovenia. But I'd love to see her get back to some of her former racing ways.
There's not too much change in the order. Jess Diggins has gone ahead of Laura Mononen, so she's moved from 10th to 9th. Haga is still in 8th place, but we're concentrating here on Østberg. There you can see Heidi Weng, but the camera A foreshortens it, and B, Weng has got 2 terrace turns to go, and therefore painful as this is, you can see that Erzberg's going to cling on to that second place, unless she falls over, that is.
And have a look at the movement there, the wide legs, lots of shoulder rotation, hip movement. On the other hand, TdS Johaug was so locked solid centrally over the skis. This is Erzberg on survival mode right now.
Yeah, that's why the coach got in there and gave her a few moments of encouragement there. Come on, Ingveld, you can do this, and don't worry about Teresa, you just keep going. And Teresa's doing just that. This is a remarkable performance by her. And, you know, she's looked vulnerable in the last two stages, but clearly she's got her head in the right place for today's climb.
She has, and what an outstanding first 7 races Erzberg has had here to challenge the great name TdS Johaug.
And this is Niskanen and Kalla. Kalla has been, in a sense, forcing Niskanen to do all the work so far. So there's a little battle to the line here. And again, points available, and look at the heart rate.
The heart rate, 190 beats a minute. Her maximum, I'll tell you, won't be much above that, maybe 195, at best 200, but on the limit this climb takes you to.
So 8.1 kilometers, 3:04. That's the deficit, the difference between Erzberg and Heidi Weng, 138. And remember, when they started out, it was, well, just under 2 minutes. So Weng's done very well. She certainly made sure of her third place on the overall podium.
And Teresa at the top end, and only what, just over 500 meters to go. She must be so happy that she'll be taking her second victory. And of course, second last year to Bjørgen, her teammate.
So Kalla stalking.
Yeah, she's ready to pounce. Just striding her way up, and hard work up that 28% climb.
So Alpsemis and cresting with less than 500 meters to go is TdS Johaug, and the 37.8 second deficit that she started the day with behind her teammate has been no impediment at the end of the day. And of course, unlike Erzberg, who was clearly in her interview fearful of this hill, TdS Johaug has got the knowledge that inside her, she's got this terrific record of winning this particular stage 6 times out of the previous 9 editions. Now, that must give you huge confidence.
It must do, untouchable, but the only thing I was thinking last night when looking at it was that we've seen for the first time TdS Johaug losing energy, and then of course not winning races. A 5th place, a 3rd place yesterday. She just wasn't quite the same race animal as we've seen since, well, what, the end of November.
What's the maximum? A good big one will always beat a good little one. Not in this case.
Yeah. Well, it's, look at that, 33.10, and not much further to the finish.
And here she comes, and maximum applause here, and appreciation and respect for TdS Johaug. I wonder what Marit Bjørgen, sitting at home with her new baby, I wonder what she makes of this. Might be feeling as if she wishes she was out here. I guess she would do. And who knows, next year she might come back for the Tour de Ski, but then on the other hand, next year's Nordic Ski Championships. And yeah, well, this isn't the first time we've seen this, have we? TdS Johaug just free skating up the final climb.
Well done, TdS Johaug.
And there it is, stage 8, 10 days, 8 days of racing, and TdS Johaug wins it. 33 minutes, 53.5, and as you can see, absolutely out. It's all adrenaline now.
She must be so happy. She was certainly pushed throughout the last 10 days, very much so, and she was beginning to doubt a little in herself, but when it comes to the climb, nobody can touch her.
And this her 3rd stage win, and 1 or 2 people thought that she might achieve more, but now, oh, this is going to feel good. I've mastered it. I've got up this blooming hill, and I'm going to come in. I'm going to be in 2nd place. Okay, I've enjoyed the red bib. And Heidi Weng finishing strongly here, Heidi Weng, and she, in her own terms, has come of age. She's dealt with this race really well, and I'm sure that yesterday, winning at last her first World Cup, her first Tour de Ski stage, has given her tremendous confidence.
But last year she was third, Heidi Weng. This year it's another third by the look of things.
Indeed, but still, that's a pretty impressive achievement. And Østberg desperate to see the finish line.
She's certainly cut her stature now after this. She will be a different athlete, David, after these 10 days. Her confidence has to be raised up massively. Was really more a sprinter, taking the silver medal in Sochi in sprinting, but now she's a distance racer.
Yeah, I'd like to see Kalle and the battle with her and Niskanen, Sweden versus Finland, because these three have been sufficiently spread out. It hasn't been really a fight. It's been willpower in different ways for all three of them. But Kalle and Niskanen, there is a real point in trying to get the higher placing. And Østberg, as you say, has really developed himself from a fantastic junior, perhaps best known in the early days as a sprinter, but has finally made it. And I don't think I want to talk to you just at this moment.
Oh, she is in a world of pain right now, Østberg. And what does she have to do? She has to really have a 3-minute lead on TdS Johaug next year at the start of this final day.
And Østberg saying, just hang on, just let me recover.
I need air. And well, it's nearly 1,300 meters up here, nearly 1,350 in fact.
So have a look at this, and on the left of your picture, that's Ragnhild Haga for Norway, and they've still got a way to go. Here comes Heidi Weng, but it's quite interesting what's happening back down, further down the course here for the positions 4, 5, 6 and 7 and 8 indeed. And Weng into third place, 3:13. But we need to get back down the mountain to see this fight between Sweden and Finland. And here it is, Kalle still behind the Finn. So still cat and mouse here between Niskanen and Kalle, and we can tell you that Ragnhild Haga has gone past the two Finns, and Kolonen and Palmakoski, who was 6th and 7th, and so she's moved up into 6th place. So that's actually going to be worth 160 World Cup points, and it's worth 9,000 Swiss francs. Had she stayed in 8th, that would have only been 5,000. But there's Teresa. She gets the 100,000 Swiss francs. Østberg gets 57,500, and Weng 35,000. 100,000 Swiss francs, about 67,000 pounds in prize money. And in points in the World Cup, 400 to Johaug, 320 and 240 to the first three.
Yeah, fantastic money and decent points. I was just waiting there, David, to see Kalle put the turbos on and try and get past Niskanen. Surely that's what her strategy has been. Palmakoski, heartbeat of 184 beats a minute.
Yeah, Krista Lartenmarki, but here's Haga, and really on the charge here. So Ragnhild Haga, who is going to finish by my reckoning in 6th place. And Haga, who was very much to the fore in the Tour de Ski last year for the women. So Niskanen still being shadowed here.
Well, Cala's just brewing up now. Surely she's gone wide. She's given herself some space to get past, maybe taking the slightly longer line. But as expected, with just 200 metres to go, Cala at last putting the charge on.
Yeah, and that was her tactic all the time. And of course, she's done it very decisively and really powerfully. And it just shows you the energy she's left in the tank. She accepted, like Niskanen, they were never going to muck around or mess with the Norwegians. But 4th place on the tour, that's worth 200 bonus points. It's worth 20,000 Swiss francs. And Niskanen, for finishing in 5th place, will get 180 World Cup points and 15,000 Swiss francs for finishing, as I said, in 5th place. And we think that Hilda's going to finish, Ragnhild Haga, I should say, in 6th place. But Cala, a determined burst, and she collects 4th place on the big climb to Alp Semis. But the honour of 2016 goes to Johaug, Østberg and Weng, and the Norwegians dominant throughout the women's tour. So there it is, 34 wins, and that victory is actually her 11th stage win, and it equals Marit Bjørgens on the all-time list. She's second, or they are second, only to Kowalczyk. So congratulations to Theresa Johaug. From Mike Dixon and myself, David Goldstrom. Still the men's final to come, but for now, bye-bye from Val di Fiemme.